Bat Force Radio.
Bat Force Radio is rated M for mature, or should that be immature?
Hey guys, Dustin Witt.
Hey, this is Scott Snyder.
This is Paul Dini.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
You're listening to Bat Force Radio.
This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, and you're listening to Bat Force Radio, so stay tuned.
All right. Welcome back to Bat Force Radio, the Batman DC podcast with no limits. We have a full stacked lineup tonight. Let's go around the round table. We got Grumps over in New York.
Yo.
We got Gramps over in Texas.
Yeah, I just shit my pants.
We got Teases over in Dirty Jersey.
Believe.
We got Robin up in Canada.
Hey.
We got Legends in southern sunny California.
Fuck the Delta variant.
I am Thomas Wayne Jr., also known as Bat Force Tom, out in Southern California. We talked about number one, the Suicide Squad just came out. When did that come out? Like a week ago?
Maybe 2 weeks ago? Yeah, something like that.
2 weeks ago?
Maybe, yeah.
Jesus. Okay. It's had like pretty much rave reviews, I want to say, from fans and critics. So big push for Warner Brothers in the positive direction overall for movies, that is. We're going to shoot you straight with our thoughts on it. We're not going to, as we say, have a stomp party, but we'll tell you what we think. And there's also a lot of comic news. Robin, can you explain what is this thing called? It's like a newsletter. It's like kind of like a Patreon subscription service that almost like every major comic writer just announced last week that they're jumping onto.
Yeah, you're talking about Substack. So it's been a newsletter service that some of these guys have been using for a while, where it was just newsletters. Like I've been, one of the biggest names that's doing it is James Tynion. I've been subscribed to his newsletter for probably over a year now. I think Chip Zdarsky's was always on there. Scotty Young has his on there. And it was always just the place where you subscribe to get their newsletters, where they talked about whatever they were doing at the time. James talks about his Batman stuff, Department of Truth, Something's Killing the Children, all that. But now, all these guys are getting on board with a system that is sort of like Patreon, where for a subscription fee, and they have different levels that you can invest at, just like, it's like OnlyFans, but comic creators, and they are possibly not nude. But so depending what subscription level you get on, you get access to different things. So they'll be writing new stories, new comics that will be published first just digitally for paid subscribers. Now, some of these creators are saying that the books that they're putting on there will be published physically later on, but if you go and subscribe to their Substack, you'll be reading that stuff on a regular basis as they put it out.
Yeah. So it sounds like we're going to get the digital stuff if we subscribe instantly right away.
Yeah.
And then maybe attached to the subscription, we'll get like a fancy hardcover or collector's edition. And then even the public later on will get their little physical if they want that as well.
Yeah. Stuff like James has been publishing digitally for a while. He has a horror anthology magazine that he puts out. I think it's like quarterly or something, called Razor Blades. So that's had stories from, like, he writes stories on it, and he gets people like Becky Cloonan and stuff doing stories in there, and that's been published digitally as well as physical copies that he had just been shipping right out of his place in Brooklyn. But
Wow.
This stuff is going to be just for the digital subscribers for the beginning. And then the print copies will come later on of some of the things, might not even be all of it.
Yeah. So for those who might not know, James Tynion, the main Batman writer right now, pretty much like the new big name in comics, I want to say. Like, he's across the board on indie and DC, very big. Donny Cates is doing that. For Marvel, he's a big Marvel name. Chip Zdarsky does a lot of Marvel titles that sell well. Scott Snyder's doing it's something different. It's not Substack, right?
I think Scott is on there, but he's just doing his comic writing course.
Okay. And then he's got like a Comixology deal, so he's doing his thing through Comixology. Who else is doing it? Like basically the biggest names right now in comics. So Tynion is now stepping away from Batman. Instead of writing, I think another 2 years of Batman, he's decided to now focus on his indie work. Which, to be honest, like, you know, as far as making money, he's smart because he's going to make probably more money on the percentages of sales that he does for his indie stuff versus what he has to share with DC.
Yeah, for sure. And he's so hot with all his indie stuff right now, like stuff getting picked up for TV shows. And I've seen a lot of people sort of mislabeling that he's leaving DC. So basically, we have to keep in mind that he was originally scheduled to write Batman. He was coming in at issue 86 when Tom King's run ended, and he was originally scheduled to write it up to issue 100. And because it was doing so well, they asked him to stay on longer. So he was at a point where he's been probably not sleeping much, if at all, to do not only that main Batman book, the Joker book he's doing, all of his indie stuff where he's doing Something is Killing the Children and Wind at Boom. He's doing Department of Truth at Image. And he also has Nice House on the Lake at DC Black Label in addition to those. And then he's coming off Batman, yes. He's coming off his Joker book, yes. But he still has Nice House on the Lake that's running at Black Label. And he still has DC versus Vampires coming up.
Oh,
so
shit.
he's not just gone from DC. He's just coming off of these books that are taking up the bulk of his time, when he has, you know, all this creator-owned stuff that is getting adapted into shows on Netflix and stuff. Can't blame him for that, you know. And his other option was they offered him another contract to commit to another 3 years of Batman. So another 3 years of balancing everything. That's rough.
He said in that one post that when he signed on for the last 2 years of Batman, all those indie books got pushed back. That's like he's just now getting to what he wanted to do that he had lined up and ready to go 2 years ago. So Robin has been blowing up the DM with pretty much every Tynion-ish non-Batman series, and it took me a while to grab was it the Department of Truth?
Yeah.
Robin sold me on, dude, Bigfoot. I'm like, all right, fucking, I'm buying it.
Bigfoot's in there.
But goddamn, dude, like, it's such a good. It's like it. If you like conspiracy theories, if you like, secret government projects, this is like the dude. And with the way you read it, it's like, oh my god, he's such a nerd for this stuff. Like, you really start to notice how much he enjoys it too. And he takes those conspiracy theories and he does a really interesting thing with them, and it's like super cool. And the fucking art, holy shit, man! You were saying it's like you compared it to Bill Sienkiewicz.
Yeah, it's Martin Simmons is the artist, and I like to describe him, at least his art in this book, as being somewhere between Bill Sienkiewicz and Dave McKean.
Yeah,
you know, it's very, very painterly and very not typical comic art looking, but it works perfectly for this story.
Something is Killing the Children. What is give us a little? I still haven't grabbed that. What's a brief little teaser of that one?
Well, the
kids are dying.
Yeah, that's accurate. The way that I always sum it up at the shop for potential readers, this may not be the most accurate, but it certainly sounds flashy. I like to say, imagine if Stranger Things were directed by Rob Zombie. So it's very, kid based. So the story is monsters exist, and they manifest from the imaginations of children who, they see a shadow outside their bedroom window, and in their imagination, they think it's a monster. And that will actually manifest a monster, but only the children can see them. Adults can't perceive them because they're adults and don't have the same imagination, but they can still very much murder anybody. So there is this, like a society that, they live in this giant mansion, and it's been around for hundreds of years, and what they do is when they can see from, you know, news headlines about deaths in a small town somewhere, they can see, okay, there's something going on here. They'll send someone out to take care of it, and their goal is to take out the monster that is there, and to the sort of the bigger importance to this order is keeping it secret. You know, they're more interested in keeping it secret than in saving lives there. You know, they'll save as many lives as they can, but the more important thing is just keeping the existence of monsters from becoming public knowledge.
It's like he has a, like, if people, you know, people know this term consciousness, he has, dude, the more I hear about the indie work that he does, he's a total fucking like consciousness, like the projecting your consciousness to manifest reality. That's basically Grant Morrison. So I'm sure he's very influenced by Morrison, and he's also probably very influenced by whatever crazy shit Morrison like is into, that he probably reads into on his free time too.
That really tracks, because we know Scott Snyder takes a lot of influence from Grant, and James was one of Scott's students. So yeah, that definitely tracks.
Dude, that's so nuts. It's so nuts to see, like, to trace a trail back from like Snyder. Like, Snyder comes into DC, he like blows up with Court of Owls. He starts fucking bringing in Tynion, who is his like student protege.
Yeah.
Williamson, like, he's like propping these guys up and like helping them along, and then now they're doing their own. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, like to see it go, and we've all been reading it this whole time, so we saw James go from the point where he was writing backup stories in Scott and Greg's New 52 Batman.
Shit, that's right.
To where, you know, not only did he take over the main Batman title, but now he's the guy, you know, he's this big rock star in comics now that has all these books being adapted, you know, picked up by Netflix and all this.
Dude, it's so weird. It's so crazy. And
if people want to get in on one, it's tough right now, you know, unless you go read the trades. It can be tough to get the single issues of definitely Something's Killing the Children. That book is getting into like the, you know, $500 to $1,000 area, depending if you want a raw or graded copy. But Department of Truth is starting to get there, and as soon as the announcement comes, like, we know that the rights were purchased, but as soon as an announcement comes of where it's going and all that, that's going to start getting heavy too. But if you want to get in on something that's still early, you can still get in on Nice House on the Lake that he's doing for Black Label. So this is a book. So just to set up the first issue, a bunch of people who all have this common friend all get summoned out to like a week-long retreat from this friend that they've all had, a common friend that they've all had for years, that they all know from different places. Some of them know him from high school, some from college, some from work afterwards. And he, you know, sort of really lays it on that they all have to come out to this trip. You know, here's where we're meeting. It's a great house. You'll have everything you need. Just you have to come out here and spend this time together. So they all get out there, and then an apocalypse destroys the rest of the world.
Yeah, I'm all about it, man. And it's not to say anything negative about his Batman stuff, but I'm way more interested in his indie stuff.
Yeah, I found myself the same. Like, he's writing most of my favorite books, and I have to say the probably the least of those is Batman, and it's not because that's not good. It's because his creator-owned stuff is so good.
Yeah.
Also, with, you know, the one complaint with these creative writers is that they're constrained to what DC editorial wants.
Yeah.
Good point.
And yeah, that's very true, and I think that's why they like doing their creator-owned stuff so much, because they can just do whatever. They literally can do whatever they want. But I think we've seen James push that maybe more, at least as much as any other author on Batman has done. He has created so many new characters in the short time he's been writing it, and they're characters that people are latching onto as well. I've seen people posting pictures of really elaborate cosplays of Ghostmaker, you know, the character he created in Batman, you know, with the full suit and lights on it and everything. So he's creating these characters that people are latching onto, and they're being successful. It's easy to write some new characters that show up and then disappear. No one cares. But he keeps creating characters that people enjoy.
That is refreshing to see, like finally new characters and not overusing the same ones. That's cool. Not this. I mean, I'm not gonna say I love the characters. It's funny. Like it's kind of like what's his name from Zoolander when he's talking about Sting. Sting. That's another person I respect. I don't listen to his music, but the fact that he's making it, I respect it. So, not necessarily like they're not the classic villains yet, but I love the fact that he's throwing new stuff in the mix. Rather than just reusing stuff. Is there anybody love his Batman run? I don't want to stomp on it without giving it some due. If we need to give it some due, anybody love it?
Yeah, it's definitely good, and that's showing. Like the reason why they ended up keeping him on, they asked him to stay on past 100 because I think what he had said was something like 6 months into his run, the sales on the book had doubled.
Whoa.
So people are definitely enjoying what he's doing. But I think just the stuff he's writing outside of that is so good that it's just outshining what he's doing on Batman.
I did hear that a lot of people have a hard time with Georgie Jimenez's art because it's like so stylized and like the colors maybe are a little too much. The style is a little too much. Which is interesting to hear that it's selling so well, even when it's like such a stylized look. But
yeah, for sure. Then we've seen that with so many artists who have a really strong style, right? It's not hard to see someone trashing Frank Miller's art, or even Darwin Cook, or anyone who has a really strong style. It can be hard to get behind if what you're accustomed to is like the Jim Lee style, like current traditional comic art. It can be tough to enjoy and immerse yourself in something that's really strong like Jorge's art. But his is fantastic. I love his art too.
I like it too. But I could totally see why someone, who it's like someone who's like a Neil Adams head, like fucking Neil Adams is their guy, that's their Batman, that's their look. Like why it would be so hard to kind of switch over.
For sure.
Okay. Did they announce a new Batman writer yet or no?
No.
Oh, shit. Grumps, your thoughts on Tynion stepping out, maybe who you think should get the job?
Yeah, I'm okay with him, moving on. That's all I can say about that.
You weren't married.
Yeah,
you weren't married.
No, not at all. It was for me. It was good, like good, not like great. There was some really good parts. Yeah, no, nothing, not bad or not spectacular for me. Just like right in the middle. So
and Grumps is one of those guys who's been pulling Batman a long time, and you've been through a lot of different creative teams, so. A team really has to do something right to win you over.
Well, I've got breaking news.
Oh,
I just finished reading this DC Guide to Writing by Dennis O'Neil.
Oh,
Danny,
and they gave me the job.
Yeah, oh man! The last time someone gave Gramps a job, we didn't hear the end of it.
I can't wait to see panels of Batman eating brisket.
It's all 16 panel.
Oh man!
I feel like the real question is who's available to take the job. It's like that's a big.
I know who my pick is.
I thought I saw Tom Taylor was gonna. I don't know. Like he was doing some Bat book.
He just announced the new Batman's Dark Knights of Steel.
Yeah.
So he's doing that.
Yeah, medieval thing. Honestly, he was my pick.
Okay.
Before they gave it to Tynion, he was who I was expecting. And then when they started teasing that, Tom had another announcement coming, what I figured was, okay, James is going to... Because James said that he had an announcement. Tom said he had an announcement. So I thought, okay, so James is going to announce that he's coming off Batman now, and Tom's announcement is going to be that he's taking over Batman. So I was half right, and James announced he was coming off, but then Tom just announced his new mini.
It's gonna be Chip Zdarsky.
Yeah, that's another good one. Yeah, it could definitely be Josh.
Oh shit! I accidentally.
Josh Williamson.
I kicked him out by accident.
Switch positions.
I kicked him out by accident.
In reference to Tynan, you know, I was thinking like what Tom had said earlier, like you know, how much did the editorial play into the future state or whatever? I don't know, relaunch, whatever they're like. How much did that play into, you know, what Tynan is doing? So maybe like he's not doing my favorite versions of these characters. You know, he's probably asked to do something else. So.
That's definitely possible because he did touch on that, and the DC versus Vampires book that he has coming up, he said that he wrote that. He began his work on that a couple years ago, when they told him about the plans for 5G. He had no interest in continuing to write Batman in the 5G universe that was going to be coming up. So he was going to step away from it then. So that was when he started working on this, you know, out of continuity vampires story. And then when 5G went away and they asked him to stay on, he said, okay, fucking right, I'll keep writing this if 5G is not in the plan. But yeah, we still don't know what constraints he may still have had to work under.
That is interesting because, as you mentioned earlier, Robin, all those like, dude, the all-star roster of potential Batman writers are now telling us that their main focus is going to be their indie stuff. So yeah, who does that really leave? And then you were mentioning too, like Tom Taylor's now on Superman, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, not the main
Son
Superman. He's doing Superman, Son of Kal-El, the John book, which that's really good so far too. And he's also doing Nightwing.
Right. See, I feel like he's such a big name that hasn't gotten the main title yet.
Yeah.
That it would only make sense to pull the people who are buying his stuff to the main title of Batman because they know he's gonna pull buyers
for sure.
Williamson, on the other hand, too, is like he's been working with Snyder like ever since I want to say what was the last one over here? Like right after All-Star Batman, I forget what arc that was. And then he was doing metal stuff, you know, he was doing all the crossovers with them.
Yeah. But Josh is another guy who has been super successful with creator-owned stuff over the years too, you know, Nailbiter and Ghosted, and you know, he's done a ton of stuff on his own too.
It'll be interesting to see who they announce, and I think like you guys are mentioning, I think it's a good thing to get a new. It is hard, man, to get a Rockstar team together. It's almost impossible. Like, you know, it's hard to get both the artist and the writer to just gel really well. And I mean, I think the last ones that we can think of were probably Snyder and Capullo. I don't think there's been like just a consistent team like that since them, I think. But fucking A. Oh, thank God I almost didn't forget. You guys see Batman the World that Bermejo just kind of teased today?
Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of rock stars, God damn, man. And he just also posted a new detective variant that he's coming out with. Fucking A. I mean, we talk about it almost every time we get together, but I don't think you could say enough good things about Bermejo. Then what's also really cool that's coming out is it the 80-year anniversary of the Rogues Gallery where they're doing that. It's the Gotham City Villains oversized special, I believe it's called.
Yeah, that he did the cover for that too. Yeah. I don't know how he keeps getting better, but he keeps getting better.
And he's so self-critical of himself. Like he's so humble about it too. Yeah. Like any praise that you try to throw at him, he like just bats it down and says, "No, this is bad. This looks bad, awful, whatever." Dude, that Gotham City Villains spectacular thing. The fucking variants alone looks so dope. Did you guys see that Fabok cover that he just tweeted or just put out?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's another one that's
Yeah, it's
self-critical
got,
of his stuff too.
Robin, weren't you saying that he's got an announcement coming up?
Yeah,
That he
he's
has-
got something coming up, I think too. But well,
He hasn't.
there's also something that can't really be talked about yet. But yeah, we'll see.
These Canadians are so secretive, and they all know each other. Have you noticed that?
I've been not talking about something that David Finch has been working on for like 5 fucking years.
That's what I mean. Another Canadian secret society. Robin somehow just knows every Canadian comic book artist. I think there's only one comic shop in Canada.
Yeah, that's right.
At least yours doesn't hold people hostage, but we'll moving past that.
Yeah. Well, the last time Zdarsky was in, I don't think I let him leave for a while.
Did you guys? This is a touchy subject for me, but who grabbed that first issue of the '89 comic?
I did for sure.
That's a big one.
I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, it's it's just it's beautiful to have the variant by Jerry Ordway. Just the fact that he's doing variants. I don't think they've officially said if he's doing one for every issue, but I really hope he does because man, it's so cool to see him doing some Batman Keaton art stuff.
I mean, this is something we've been waiting how long for? Crazy. It's
Tom's been waiting since he was a little baby.
Well,
since I was a gleam in my father's eye.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that we're now getting 89 universe in the comic, and then Keaton back in the role.
It's crazy, yeah. With the Flash movie, and then I don't know if you guys saw. Did you see the Babs Tarr variant she's doing for issue number 4? She's doing like a Batman Returns. Babs, man. Oh, Babs. She's someone that could draw Catwoman. I don't mind her drawing Catwoman whenever she wants to draw Catwoman. Shout out to Jim Ballant. He just had a birthday.
So Tom,
yesterday. Yeah.
Tom, did you read the book? Do you like it or?
I'll be honest with you. I want to read it, so I flipped through it. I skimmed it because I'm trade weighting it like Gramps, because I want to swallow this load whole.
Oh,
I want all of it. I want it all. Every drop.
This is why we can't have nice things.
No limit.
Yeah. I want it like that sign language interpreter for the WAP song at that festival that viral video.
He wants the whole grapple gun.
So I'm edging it. I'm edging it to kind of just it's hard, man. Like I flipped through it. Fuck, man, it looks so good. It's I think if you're I'm not the kind of dude that's like, oh, it has to be this way, it has to be that way. I like what he's doing with the cowl because he likes the Returns cowl and he likes the 89 suit. So he's doing a Returns cowl with the Returns emblem on an 89 suit. It looks cool.
So okay, when in the timeline is it supposed to happen? Is it after Returns?
So it's kind of sandwiched. It's almost like it feels like they might be doing like even a separate timeline-ish almost because it's kind of sandwiched at some point around the first and the second movie because you never see Harvey Dent as Two-Face in Batman Returns, but he's coming around. I don't want to fucking spoil anything. But you see him coming around, so it's almost kind of like an alternate timeline. It feels like, I don't know if that's where they're going, but what's awesome is Sam Hamm is the writer. So the guy that wrote the screenplay for the first 2 movies, if anybody's going to write the comic, it's going to be that guy. So, and I did see a couple of people saying that the first issue was really slow, that like nothing happens and there's just like there wasn't like a big bang or anything like that in the first issue. So another reason why I'm going to wait to eat that sandwich after it's assembled, as they say.
Do they say that?
I don't know. Some fat guy somewhere says it.
They do now.
What about you guys? Did you guys read it?
Not yet.
Not yet. I haven't been able to get to the shop.
I thought the art looked a little, I don't know. rough around the edges, I guess.
Yeah, it's his. I feel like it's his own take, and you know, I'm not gonna badmouth. I'm not gonna badmouth Joe Quinones because he's doing his thing. You know what I mean? What I will say is, I wouldn't have hated it if they went with like a different stylized, because it seems like what he's wanting to do is he's wanting to pay like homage to like the box art, and he's trying to pay homage to maybe the adaptation, you know. So it feels very much like that. So like it's not Bermejo, you know what I mean? It's like it's not Bermejo, it's not Fabic.
Yeah, if he drew Keaton, oh my god,
fuck, just a whole fucking Keaton Bermejo.
A cover, wow.
Yeah. So you know, it's kind of like I saw someone post a comment about the Flash movie where Keaton and Affleck are both coming back. Someone's like, I hope it's not just fan service and they're just not trying to please fans. And I'm like, dude, that's fucking exactly what it is.
Right?
It's 100%
Honestly,
fan
it sounds
service.
like the Batman movie co-starring the Flash. You know?
Yeah. And it's like, I don't fucking care anymore. Like, fucking serve me, bro. You know? I'll take it for what it is.
All anybody talks about this movie is Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck. I haven't heard anyone say Ezra Miller.
Yeah, dude, all the leaks are just Batman.
Yep.
Like
there are more articles about the car he's driving than Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a dope ass car. All right, gentlemen, let's see. There was something else that I wanted to touch on. That's what she said. The Suicide Squad. That's a big one. So the Suicide Squad came out. Teaser says, I mean, I guess we're 2 weeks out of the release. Man. So not everyone has seen it. So I don't know if we want to get into a whole spoiler thing. If you guys care, give a shit.
Go nuts. Teasus and I haven't watched it yet, so maybe you guys can convince us if we should or shouldn't watch it.
So I did kind of joke about that. Let's depending upon how we present this, if it's going to make people want to watch it or make people not want to watch it. So we'll do counterpoint. Grumps, I know that you kind of shared in our chat your kind of initial thoughts on the movie. Who has seen it? Legends, you saw it. Gramps? Oh, okay. So most of us have seen it. Let's go around. Let's go around and say Gramps. This is hard, man. So let's just go like your general thoughts. Where were you? How did you watch it? What were your thoughts immediately after?
Okay. Well, I remember watching the original Suicide Squad movie in the theater, and I went with a buddy, and after that we were like, what the hell did we just watch? Let's go to the bar and drown this out of our memory. So this one I was like, I'm not gonna waste my money going to the theater. Plus, I mean, with COVID going on, there aren't too many theaters around me even open, or one that I even want to be around other people. So I just watched it at home. That's the beauty of HBO Max. They've got everything out the same day. And so, and I'll admit, I think, did it come out on a Friday? I think so.
It was a Thursday.
Thursday?
Like midnight Thursday or something like that.
So midnight Thursday, you know, I watched it on Friday night, end of the week. I was exhausted from work, so I really had to split it up into watching about 45 minutes the first night and then the rest of it on Saturday. And it was really what I expected. I just wanted a movie where I could just turn my brain off and sit back and just watch people get fucked up. And that, you know, the first 10 minutes did not disappoint. Watching Pete Davidson get his face blown off was the most satisfying moment for me. But I mean,
agreed.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous, man. And I was just like, wow, they're going for it. But then I also noticed, I was like, there's a lot of dicks in this movie. I was like, what is James Gunn going for?
There are a lot of dicks on this podcast too, but
yeah, but I mean, we're not swinging them out in front of each other. But
yeah,
I was just like,
we make sure to get consent.
I was like,
before the show.
Where is this movie going? But then I like I said, after about 45 minutes, I was tired. I had to turn it off. And then I came back and I was like, I got to finish this because, one, I want to see Starro for the first time on, live action movie. And then I don't know. I didn't want to. I knew we were going to do a show, so I justified it as saying, okay, it's research. And so
R&D.
I took one for the team. Was it my cup of tea? No, but it was basically a little bit like the comics. I mean, it's not. I'm not the target audience, but what it did well, and I see why people like it. The people that tend to like it also probably tend to like Deadpool. They love Harley Quinn in the first Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey. But there were just some scenes that were just crazy. Seeing King Shark rip a dude in half, that was pretty awesome. I will say I enjoyed the King Shark more than what I saw in the trailers. The trailers seemed to have scenes that weren't even in the movie. But I thought he was a little bit better than what I anticipated. Out of 5 Louis farts, I'll give it
Now, Louis being your dog for everyone who doesn't know.
my French bulldog, my gaseous French bulldog that will smoke you out at the drop of a hat. Out of 5 Louis farts, I'll give it about 3 farts.
Ooh, almost deadly, but not quite.
Right. Not quite a stinker, but,
It's like a...
That's pretty good. It's a Louis drop. All right. Okay. All right. 3 out of 5. Legends.
I purposely did not watch much of the trailers for this film. It's probably the least interested in a DC film I've been looking forward to in a while, other than Birds of Prey. So I waited until I had a day off, which was, I think, Monday night, maybe Tuesday night the following week. Watched it on HBO Max. Before I went to bed, I didn't get to finish it because I fell asleep. So I watched about the first hour, not because it was boring, but I was just really tired. So I finished it the next day in 2 parts. A second time, I just got really busy, so I watched it a third part. I almost split it up in 3 acts. It was more gorier than I thought it would be. A lot of blood. It was almost like I was watching Mortal Kombat, the Mortal Kombat movie that just came out, where they just had the blood effect running the whole film.
Oh.
I wasn't expecting it to be so graphic. Not that it bothers me. I was just surprised, considering I think a younger audience, a lot of younger people would probably want to watch it. I really liked Idris, the way he played the role. His story wasn't that unique, but I thought I just like him as an actor. I've liked him ever since The Wire. Thought the character was cool. It was more like a Iron Man / Bloodsport. His tech was really cool at the end when he was fighting Starro. The third act was really solid. The first act was cool. Second act I thought was pretty lackluster. The third act I thought was the best act. I really enjoyed seeing Polka Dot Man on film. The whole mom story where
that was fucked up.
I thought it was hilarious.
That was pretty smart. I'm gonna.
He just starts seeing his mom as Starro. Who could not laugh at that? It's fucking hilarious.
I got that he always sees his mom in everyone. Is that what that is?
Yeah, he's
crazy. I mean, well,
Jesus.
they didn't show it throughout the entire film. I think they played it perfectly in the film, like where they didn't overdo it. They weren't trying to keep throwing it at us. I thought they picked great moments the way they did that. I thought John Cena was fair.
Be honest.
Yeah, I thought he was I thought he was fair. There was some really corny jokes, but some of them I thought were pretty hilarious. I thought him and Idris had a good back and forth banter in the film. I did get a lot of Deadpool vibes when I was watching it. Do I like it better than the first Suicide Squad? I don't know. If I do, it's not by much. Mainly because the first Suicide Squad felt very choppy, where they were just sprinkling Jared Leto in the film, and it didn't really feel like a solid film. This one felt more cohesive. Yeah.
Well, my thing was like they both felt just like video games where they go to one layer, they fight a big bad, then they go to the next level and they fight a big. I wanted to see Starro, and I didn't want to see Starro just be the final big bad at the very end.
Michelin Man.
I wish that they had kind of brought him out sooner, and they had to figure out a way to team up to beat him instead of just like, oh, let's just go in, balls in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He did kind of come off as the final boss. They just kind of
Marshmallow Man.
Anyway.
Overall, I would say I enjoyed watching it. Would I watch it again? I'm not sure. Maybe if it was on, I might watch it, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to watch it. Out of 10, Sean Murphy Bat Cycles, I'd give it 6.75, and that's where I'm sticking.
Colt hates you right now for that.
Sorry, Colt. I like the Bat Cycle.
I'll let I want to give Grumps his time, so I'll just do it real quick, and I want Grumps to have the floor right after.
God.
But you know, I thought I remember giving the first Suicide Squad like a 6 point. I want to say it was like around a 6.5 out of 10, and I did not think this one was as bad as the first one. The first one, Legends, you're right. It felt like I felt like the first Suicide Squad, it felt like David Ayer had filmed a bunch of stuff and they cut all of it out and they just made it those little dream sequences and those little flashbacks. And that's like the little, yeah, they did that. And it felt like that, and it felt choppy and it felt awkward. And so I hated that about the first one.
But that's not even
terrible
his movie,
video, and the terrible song music video sequences were terrible.
The music ruined that first one. I hated that song, the main song they used as the promotional song. But anyways, you know, but I didn't like hate all of Suicide Squad. I saw a movie. I saw potential there, and it just fell flat overall. This one, the way I look at it is, it, like Gramps said, it's pretty much what I expected it to be. I expected it to be like a James Gunn movie. I did not expect it to be. It felt like Deadpool 2, where it's like it was fucking like bloody. It was a lot of profanity, fucking straight up dicks. And when was the last time you saw man dick in a superhero movie? You know, that was crazy to me. Like that, there's full frontal male nudity in this movie. You know, so it was pretty much.
Azrael is rolling around in his grave.
It surprised me in a certain way. You know, in that sense, it's not for me. The movie is not for me. It was not made for me. I'm a Snyder fanboy without the toxicity. When Zaddy calls, I answer, and that's my kind of DC movie. Like I like it to be a little deeper. I like it to be like a little darker and grittier. And this had darkness and grittiness, but it was very light. It had a very light tone, had a very fun tone, inviting tone. It had a team movie, team sense. it was too fucking long for me. Like, dude, it was so fucking long, and I feel like it hurts that, in my opinion, on, you know, just from my perspective. You know, I can't fucking sit through. It felt, was it over 2 hours? Was it over 2 hours long?
Yeah. Just a little bit, yeah.
Like 2:15.
Yeah, you could have tightened this up to like an hour and a half, and it would have been better. I feel like an hour and a half, you're in, you're out. You know, it makes it a little bit more memorable. It felt like it fucking took forever to get to that third act for me. Like, I just, you know.
The thing is too is like, when was the last time you saw a movie that was an hour and a half? Everything is over 2 hours, you know.
Yeah. I think movies almost have to be longer now because we have so many things like shows on HBO and Netflix that episodes are getting to be movie length.
That's true.
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw my 2 cents into. It's like, I don't think everyone kind of realizes that they renamed the same movie again, and they've kind of repackaged it. You know, it's like
they called it a, what do they call it? A soft reboot, right?
Yeah, technically it's like the same title. I saw like the first 20 minutes and I fell asleep, just like Legends. Not because it was bad, it was just late at night. And to me, this was their attempt to kind of have a clean slate and to kind of like reintroduce these characters. They introduced a lot of characters that they should have had the first time. And again, they wanted to take the route of what makes a successful Marvel film. You know, the humor, over the top, that anime gore. So it's like, this is their version of trying to get new fans into that very serious DC universe that we're all used to. But to me, to us, it's more sophisticated storylining. But in this case, they went completely 180. So it's like, they're just trying to gain more fans. So it looked like it was a success, but I mean, to me, this was more of an attempt to kind of erase what happened last time, you know?
I just felt bad for Viola Davis because I really like her role as Amanda Waller.
She was great.
I really want her in like some Batman shit.
I think she's great. Like, I even she's fucking. She did the same thing she did the last time. That's what I hoped for. She's fucking great no matter what she does. That actress can't do wrong.
I mean, Grams, last week you were saying, you're like, man, she should have more.
I want a Viola Davis, Amanda Waller fig, man.
Dude, you can do a Suicide Squad series where she's the main character, and I'll watch that. Like,
I was about to say, like, if she was on HBO Max and you had like short stories based on her experience.
Oh yeah,
you could
like a series based off of her like going around and doing shit.
Right.
And it's just characters revolving in.
Right.
Yeah,
because she's a total badass. I mean, she like puts Batman in his place sometimes.
Like, the characters are so tertiary that they would just be in and out, and you would just focus on how she reacts and what she does to them.
Before we give Grumps the floor, I just want to finish by saying, kind of collecting what you guys were mentioning. This, you know, I'm happy that DC is getting something. I mean, it was fucking applauded across the board. Both critics and fans loved it. And I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see, like, okay, the studio is now going to at least get more attention, more money to do more, which is great. But like you were saying, Tease, this is definitely a step in a completely different direction towards movies. Like, this is a tone that they want to go. Now this is like, okay, this is what we can do now. People are going to like it. Critics are going to like it. It's going to happen more often. And I'm kind of like bummed because it's not really like, that's not me. That's not what I want. It's not really like what I'm interested in. I can understand, and I totally see why fucking people loved it. Like, James Gunn is very well liked. And something that I was thinking back, like after watching it, like, I can't watch this again right away. Like, it's going to be a while before I rewatch it. And I kept telling myself, like, this is, and you know, this wasn't as, I didn't dislike this as much as I disliked Birds of Prey. They're very different. And then I stopped thinking, like, they're not that different. Like, you know, Birds of Prey, I feel like, was kind of in a very similar fashion as this movie was. It was just, there were things that were different. Like, James Gunn obviously kicks it up a notch and makes it crazier. And I'm like, fuck, like, I thought I really disliked Birds of Prey. I didn't dislike this as much, but, you know, maybe I was too harsh on Birds of Prey. And then I gagged for thinking that. But yeah, you know, it's kind of like, I'm probably not going to watch it again anytime soon. This is not my DC movie. It's not something I like loved. I mean, I think I would have liked it a lot more if it wasn't so long. If there wasn't a couple of things that hindered it. It's not. I don't think it's a bad movie, but it's just not a movie for me. Like it's just not for me. And I'd rather go edgelord Snyder. I love that shit more than this stuff. So
one
the
thing that
Deadpool
I
stuff
just kept thinking about was how interesting is it what they will let what Warner Brothers and AT&T or whoever is the owner now will allow certain characters to do, but not the Holy Trinity.
Yeah.
Right. They will let, Harley Quinn drop F-bomb after F-bomb. They will let all these other people, John Cena with Peacemaker stand there in his underwear, but not the Holy Trinity.
Well, it's the Holy Trinity.
It's crazy. And they'll even say, no, we need Batman to sell toys because kids look up to Batman and Superman or Wonder Woman, and they cannot do these things. But these characters, whatever you want to do, it's
heroes don't
very
do
hypocritical.
that, Gramps. Heroes don't do that, Gramps.
Well, that's true.
But
that's a good point, though, Gramps. Like it's very. I want to say, did we hear from someone, or did someone tell us, or did we read somewhere that there was like a hard rule that like the Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman just do not do certain things? Am I remembering that wrong? I feel like that's somewhere in there.
No, it's pretty well.
I feel like I could agree with that.
We saw a quick glimpse during Whedon's JL run where Kal-El came back and there was a humorous scene and it was horrible. So
yeah,
this is something that just shouldn't happen.
You don't do it.
Yeah, it sucked. So, I mean, the last DC movie that was very funny, that was a success, was Shazam, and that was done right.
Shazam,
correct? Right, and that's what it's all about. They need to focus on more titles. They need to, they're so behind. They should have already had the sequel for that, and it was a success. It was really fucking good. It was done right.
It was the perfect DC movie.
Yeah, you can't take kids to this one. Oh, no way.
Yeah, but it's like they need to know their level of humor, and to me, Shazam was where it should be. It's like it was it was very organic, in my opinion.
You can show Shazam to like any person that watches a movie, and they'll probably like it. This like the Suicide Squad. I feel like you have to like that kind of movie to like it. Grumps, what you got, bro?
Here we go.
Man, it was a solid 2 out of 5.
Damn.
Solid sticker, huh?
Okay. So I'm sitting there watching. Unlike you, fucking three, I suffered through it in one shot. I didn't have a break to recover my fucking brain.
Grumps don't sleep.
So I was sitting on the couch with Mrs. Grumps, and I'm not saying a word. Like, I'm just watching it because, I don't want to be the asshole. I don't like this. I don't like that. I just, and she turns to me and goes, "What is this?" I was like, well, I don't fucking know. I have no idea. Yeah, the best thing I could say about this movie, other than, when it ended, was the fact that the special effects, I think, were the best special effects in any DC movie.
Oh yeah.
Good point.
Like Starro looked like real. Like some of these, and I prefer the Snyder movies to this, but you could just see the screen like in some of those, Snyder movies. It was, whatever. Anyway, yeah. So Idris Elba was great, like Legends was saying, and his character's really cool with the, the devices and whatnot. But his story was like almost carbon copy to Deadshot from the first movie.
Exactly.
There was another scene where they were all seated in the I don't know, carrier helicopter, which crashed. Like the same thing happened in the movie. Everyone hated the same. It was a lot of parallels. I don't know. That character Savant seemed cool, but they offed him like, 5 minutes into it, I think. Captain Boomerang showed up to get a paycheck, I guess, because he didn't last long. There was some guy with the arms, and I was like, what
Oh
is
yeah,
this?
Nathan Fillion.
the detachable kid.
God. And then this is where I disagree with Jesus. Like, I think they went too far obscure. Like in the first movie, you had Captain Boomerang, who's Flash's enemy, and you had Deadshot, a Batman enemy, and Katana and Harley Quinn. Like, I felt like you had interesting villains. And this one, I was like, man, these guys, outside of Harley, because Bloodsport. I mean, you'll get people like for Idris Elba because he's a great actor, but the character of Bloodsport, like, who is this? Too long, like Tom said. I don't know. I mean, like I get what Jesus was saying. Like most of these movies are 2 hours, but at the same time, I didn't want to suffer through this movie for 2 hours. That was my thing. The violence didn't bother me, but it was just, I don't know. King Shark, I hated. I'm sorry. It's not King Shark. That's Nanue. They called him King Shark once, I think. And Nanue was. Oh, Nanue.
What about Calendar Man's role?
Oh man.
Those 30 seconds of it, right?
Hey, you know that actor was the Weasel?
It's his brother, right? It's Ryan Gunn.
Oh yeah.
I guess it's supposed to be funny. The Weasel, he's just making weird.
I felt sorry for that guy because he had no
character.
role on the Suicide Squad. Amanda Waller just wanted him dead. She's go join this team.
I don't know. Ratcatcher too. That was the whole rats and.
So the rat.
What was the whole purpose of this? Like, she didn't do anything. She was there
until
the
very end.
For the final act.
My theory on Ratcatcher 2 is that she's there to bring in the simps because she's that cute. She's like that cute, quiet, sleepy girl. And bro, the simps. I'm sure the simps are loving Ratcatcher 2.
Yeah, sure.
But it also, her dad was, how do you pronounce his name? Taki Waititi, the dude that directed the Thor movies. That was her dad.
Okay.
And so that was kind of funny where James Gunn injected a bunch of Marvel Universe people into this movie with Michael Rooker at the very beginning. Taki, fucking people are going to hate me. Taki, whatever, Waituki. Who else was Ryan Gunn? Weasel is played by his brother, who is also in Guardians and Infinity War and Endgame. Nathan, dude, I know people hated Nathan Fillion's character, but fucking Nathan Fillion is now in the DC universe. That's kind of crazy.
Well, he already was before. He's voiced a lot of characters.
Yeah, Green Lantern.
Yep.
Who else did James Gunn throw into here? Anyways, what did you think about Peacemaker, Grumps?
Oh, it was okay. Like I just said, I liked. He had him and Idris Elba had a good
the banter
back and forth. They had that one cool scene where they were competing, I guess, killing people. Militia,
that was
whatever.
cool.
So that was cool. Harley's good. She's good as Harley. I just feel like she's been wasted for 3 movies, basically.
There's I feel like there's so much more of her backstory that would be so much more interesting to see. And
I want a solo Harley film.
Yeah,
that's what we need, dude. Just a straight no Birds of Prey, no nothing. Just give me Harley. I agree. I feel like she's overshadowed too much by all the side stories and characters. But what would you give your what would you say is the numeric? Oh, you already said it. 2.5 out of 5.
2 out of 5. 2.
Oh, now it's 2.
2.5. 2 out of 5.
Himself down.
It dropped. It's
Star
funny
was
because
great though. The Star thing was that's why I was like, man, why couldn't this have happened earlier? They brought him in earlier in the movie. The first Justice League villain. Wow.
Yeah, I liked how at the end they translate what he says. He was like, I was just happy staring off at the stars in space. Like, you motherfuckers brought me into this shit. It's funny when we talk about it, you know, we shit on it, we give it low scores, and we talk about it. But that, I mean, we are basically making it 50-50. 50% liked it, 50% didn't like it. You're going to get a 50 score out of that. And so I just, it sounds like what everyone's saying is this is not the tone of film that we care to delve deeper into. And I don't see a lot of rewatching in our future. But again, to each their own. There's people that like this kind of movie, and I think that if you enjoyed Deadpool, if you enjoyed Thor, not Ragnarok, is it Ragnarok? It is Ragnarok, the funny one.
It is Ragnarok.
Yeah,
no, the funny one was the third one.
Yeah, that's Ragnarok.
That's Ragnarok. Okay, if you like Thor Ragnarok, if you like Ragnarok, if you like Deadpool, if you like Guardians, like this is the kind of movie you're going to enjoy in DC. And I know that there was a lot of people who are like mostly Marvel heads. They did enjoy this, so it's, you know.
So okay, wait. Let me make a point. One thing I liked about this movie is that it didn't take place at 3 o'clock in the morning, like every other DC movie. You know, there was daylight, and you know, I mean, yeah, there was night scenes, but it wasn't like dark. My hope is this fucking disaster comedy that they made, like maybe we can meet in the middle, you know, with the dark and the light and the, you know, that's my hope for the next whatever DC does.
Kind of like how Nolan used to do. Nolan would play with daylight. Like he would bring in the daylight, and it was still, you know, it was still had a tone to it. He just was using light.
Yeah.
No disrespect to the Nolan nerds who didn't like Dark Knight Rises because Batman fights during the day. No disrespect. But all right, okay. So I mean, that's fair. We're being fair. Yeah. We're not trying to S any D's out here. We're just giving you our 100% unfiltered beliefs. Now, Teases and Robin, would you be more inclined to watch this movie or not watch it now?
Yeah, I mean, my intentions are still there. I'm gonna definitely watch it. Just to kind of, you know, I started it. I'm always objective. You know, I try to find the best, something positive out of everything I watch. And again, this is just a reboot. You know, this is an attempt to really bring in a lot more fans that were maybe from the Marvel side or maybe have not really read the comics. So that's always their intent. You know, we always have gripes because we read the books, but at the end of the day, it's not meant for us primarily. You know, it's meant to really create that draw. And at the end of the day, that's a good thing for us because the more money and revenue they gain, there's a bigger opportunity for them to make these films that we want to watch. So I try to be more.
That's what makes me happy about this.
Right. Yeah. And I wanted to jump in while you're talking before because it's like I try to tell a lot of our friends that are comic book fans, we have to kind of take a step back once in a while because the more draw that they get, that's more movies that we get to watch, you know, and see on the big screen. And hopefully they start bringing in these characters that maybe we normally don't get to really see and build around that. You know, like all of a sudden you see King Shark. He should have been in the last Suicide Squad movie. You know, it just didn't happen. So hopefully, you know, the non-believers or fans go in and build in and contribute to these properties, and we get to see more because WB is in a weird spot. You know, it's been like that for 10 years, and we need stability. So hopefully they build off of that. And, you know, it looks like it's a success. So hopefully, you know, they do something. Like, what's next? Like, what's the next big movie that they have lined up? Outside of Batman, you know, it's like
Batman.
Hopefully,
I think the next big thing coming is maybe Aquaman.
They're filming that right now.
Shooting that.
They did. They finished.
Yeah, I think Momoa said they were done.
What about Shazam Part 2?
Yeah.
Oh, Black Adam too.
Yeah,
that's like right around the corner. So I think good things are going to happen for WB. I think they just have to get through this awkward stage, and I think once they're going to have massive success with Black Adam and Shazam and even Aquaman. And by the time we know it, we'll finally get our Batman movie and people will get excited again. And
well, Batman comes next, I think, doesn't it?
Batman 2022.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, I think we're in a rough patch, but I think what's coming up next is going to be huge. Huge.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what happens. Well, actually, Robin, let's get your take.
I don't know if you a-holes swayed me either way, but I'll probably get around to checking it out, you know, on Max. I don't see
I
myself.
think you would enjoy it, Robin.
Yeah.
It's not a terrible movie. It's just it's a tone. It's a choice, you know.
It's not for me, but
yeah,
like Birds
now,
of Prey.
Keep in mind, I
don't watch.
I still haven't done Birds of Prey. There just wasn't anything.
You don't need to
luring me in to watch that one. You know, like from the previews and everything, like none of the characters.
Horrible casting.
What I know, you know, I didn't look at that group and think, oh yeah, there's Black Canary. Oh yeah, there's Cass. You know, none of it was doing it for me.
I guess if you watch,
she got the worst of that, Cass.
Oh yeah. Wait, Black or Cassandra Cain?
Yeah.
And what they did to her, unforgivable. All right, well. There it is. Gave you a little bit of the new comic stuff. Gave you a little bit of the Suicide Squad. And there's some more coming. So enjoy. We'll catch you guys in the flippy flip.